Live at Post 9 to weigh in on the speaker race, the Israeli-Hamas conflict, of course, and much more. Former New Jersey Governor Christie, also presidential candidate. It's good to have you, Governor.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Carl.
What's going to happen here with Speaker? This feels like terrible timing for all of this.
Well, it is awful timing, and it's been childish for the last 2 weeks, to be honest. My own party looks childish. I mean, in my view, Kevin McCarthy, there was no reason to kick him out. And I think these 8 folks are now probably looking at this as it won't get resolved today, I don't think. If you're 20 votes down, I don't know what Jim Jordan's going to do to get 17 of those 20 back. Because he's got a history in the House, and there's a lot of relationships there, some good, some bad, and I don't know that you're going to change that. So I do think that after this second vote, if he doesn't get it, I think it's incumbent upon him to do what Steve Scalise did, which is say, okay, it's not me, step aside, and let's see who's next.
Should he get it, just so that they have somebody in place so that we can pass legislation?
Well, I've said this morning, like, look, I learned when I was governor, don't get involved in legislative leadership races. It's a loser when you're running for the executive spot. But what I would say is just get a speaker. You know, we have Israel aid, Ukraine aid, aid to Taiwan, border security, and a budget, all that get done. And none of that can get done without a speaker. So let's just get somebody and let's move on.
Can it be through a pro tem status, expand some powers, or do you want a next in line done?
I'd prefer a next in line done, Carl, because I think that if you have a pro tem, what stops these 8 from going and doing the same thing to that person? If it were McHenry, for instance, who I like a lot, I think he's a very good guy. But if it were him, if he does one thing they don't like, then he's out, then we're back in this barrel again. I think there needs to be somebody that Republicans are investing in, that they'll give support to and let the person run the House. And I think we need that.
Do you think it's the moderates strike back? And if it is, what does that mean for a campaign like yours and the needle you're trying to thread?
Well, look, I think it is the moderates strike back here. I think they've all made it very clear, right, that they're upset about McCarthy. A number of them still voting for McCarthy, and they feel like Kevin really got shafted here. And so they're not, and they feel like, rightly or wrongly, that Jim Jordan and his friends had a hand in doing that, and Steve Scalise as well. So, you know, that's what puts them in this spot, Carl. And I think for my campaign, what it shows is you need someone as president who knows how to get this stuff done, knows how to work with a legislative body. You know, for my 8 years as governor of New Jersey, I had a Democratic legislature every minute for 8 years. So I learned about how to navigate that and move them to do conservative things like eliminate the estate tax, like reform pension and health benefits to save $120 billion, balance 8 budgets in a row with no increased taxes for 8 years. That's not easy in a blue state, but you got to know how to do it. And I think what this shows the country is we don't need a president who has no experience at this or bad experience at it. We need someone who knows how to do it.
We just heard from President Biden last hour in Tel Aviv, showing full support, really stepping it up when it comes to Israel. He said he's going to ask Congress for an unprecedented package for aid to Israel by the end of the week. So what if there's no Speaker of the House, what happens next?
Well, Sarah, look, I think there has to be a speaker by the end of the week. Like, I think they've got to get their act together for when the president comes back. He's going to start putting pressure on Republicans to do something. And by the way, start to put some pressure on some moderate Democrats also, who he's going to say to them, help get this thing solved, because we have big issues here. As far as the aid package goes, I haven't seen the specifics yet, just the headlines.
It's not out.
But all the elements of it are things that I agree with. We need to give aid to Israel. We need to give aid to Ukraine, in my view, increased aid to Ukraine. We need to start arming Taiwan. We need to send a very clear message to the Chinese about that. We need to get more security down to the southern border. So every element of the package he's talking about, I agree with. I want to see some of the fine print of what the amounts are and what it contains. But the elements of it, I think, make sense.